We are reading the chapters, the portions about our forefathers, and we are now in the midst of the fight of the brothers. As I told you, the Torah is a map of events that will take place in the history of our people. And Jacob was away from his father for 36 years. Corresponding to 36 years of his time away from his father is 100 times 36, 3,600 years of Jewish history, paralleling exactly the time of Jacob, both in the house of Shem and Ever and in the exile. The only difference is that the exile and the house of Shem and Ever, the times are jumbled. It's not one continuum, but in total, they equal to 3,600. Had we not sinned, it might have been in one shot, 1,400 years in Israel, 2,200 years in exile. But it's not the way it happened. It happened in jumbles, but in total, for every year that Jacob was in the house of Shem and Ever, we had 100 years of dominion in the land of Israel. For every year of exile, we had exactly 100 years of Galus. The Seder Olam tells us that Jacob was born in the year 2108, 3,600 years later. 5708, the Jewish people returned to the land of Israel. And that period of time is ended. There's a definite difference. This is not saying that this is the beginning of the Geula. On the contrary, it's just a different tkufa, a different time. What is the time? The time is exactly what we read yesterday. And this is the conflict of the tribes. The tribes have different perspectives. Because they have different perspectives, they don't respect each other and wish to kill Joseph, who disagrees with them. How can they consider fratricide? Well, take a look what's going on today. You have a spokesperson for the BLM movement saying that the man, the vicious animal who plowed his SUV into those children on a parade, that's the beginning of a revolution, that somehow or other it's justified. How could that be? The answer is, when you hate someone because he does not share your perspective, you're willing to allow murder. And you think murder is virtuous. And that's exactly what happened. Don't sugarcoat it. The spokesperson for BLM believes that the murder of innocent people is warranted if it supports the position of what he calls the revolution. Because he's tied to an ideology. And that's exactly what we find in the history, in the story of Joseph and his brothers. I'm going to quantify this in different terms, not talking about the world at large, not talking about politics, talking about allegiances. What exactly was Joseph opposed to? Joseph lobbied and tried to bring in his brothers, who were the children of lesser wives. Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Those four brothers were born from lesser wives of Jacob. But Joseph says these were nonetheless wives of our father, and therefore are worthy of our trust and admiration, and consider them equals. The brothers, who were the sons of Leah, objected to this. Not just because Leah had a chip on her shoulder, but because their worldview was different than Joseph's. What was the difference of their worldview? So I'm going to use a colloquial concept that the Hasidim will recognize. Non-Hasidim, I'll have to use it in terms of allegiances. The brothers of Joseph, primarily the children of Leah, promoted the idea that we are the children, we are the Hasidim of the Rebbe. We are the sons of Jacob. The most important thing is our allegiance to the Father. Because the Father is the point, the central point of divinity, of spirituality in this world. God has given him the responsibilities and the chain of glory from Abraham. He is the link after which we are all linked. There is no other great link after him. And therefore, our job is to be connected to the Rebbe. His kashrus, that trumps everything. Being mekusher trumps anything else. The problem with that is it covers up on a lot of faults, which Joseph pointed out to their father. Even though the rabbis tell us that the behavior of the brothers was proper, but the way they did it, that aroused suspicion, was improper. As the rabbis tell us, we're not allowed to do many things because of my cousin. My name is Morris Bergstein. I have a cousin called Morris Ayin. That's a joke. Morris Ayin is appearances. You're not allowed to do things that appear improper. If your coat gets wet on Shabbat, you're not allowed to stretch it out or pull it out on hangers in a way that you would put wet washings, wet things that have just been washed. You're not allowed to put it on a clothesline. Why not? Because people will suspect that you washed something on Shabbat, but you didn't. You were in the rain. And furthermore, you're doing so on a line that's inside your house. So the rabbis tell us that which they prohibited because of Morris Ayin, my cousin, appearances, are forbidden not just public, but even in the most private of places. Afilu b'chadrei chadorim. You're not allowed to do things that arouse suspicion. And that's what the brothers engaged in, because they thought the only thing that's important, the only thing that mattered was his kashrus, connection to their father, to their Rebbe, to their teacher, to their Rosh Hashiva. But that's wrong. There's a line that we say before we daven, before we say prayers, and that's Hareini mikabel alai mitzvahs aseh shel v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You should love your friend as yourself. I'm asking you the question, who does your friend mean? Does it mean those who believe what you believe, or does it mean everyone of Klal Yisrael? And that's a rhetorical question, because we know we were taught by the Rebbe. It means everyone. It means even those who are not mekusha to the Rebbe, not even those who aren't mekusha to the Rebbe. It means even those who are opposed to our Rebbe. We have to love them as well as ourselves. Because Joseph argued with the brothers, yes, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher are from lesser wives, but they're still our brothers, and they deserve our love and respect. Even if someone's behavior is less than yours, it's still your brother, still deserving of love and respect. See, because Yosef saw what his brothers did not see. The brothers were members of a clan, a great clan, the most powerful clan, the most wonderful clan on earth, but a clan nonetheless. When you're a member of a clan, by definition, you remove yourself from those who are not in your clan. So the people of Shechem, they did something, violated the rules of the clan. That's it, they get curtains. But is that what God wants? Does God want us to be a clan? The answer is no. A clan lasts as long as the leader of the clan is around. The minute the leader is gone, different factions start fighting with each other. And it causes violence and hatred, murder, pillaging, every conceivable evil that a person could possibly have comes as a result of the death of the head of the clan. I don't have to expound on this, but that's exactly what is happening in our circles, and that's what happens in other circles. All of the strife, all of the conflicts come because we think that we're better than the other person because we are mekushar. We are attached to the clan, to the head of the clan. And everybody else doesn't count. That's why there's so many conflicts, which Rosh Hashiva to take, which rabbi to take, which rebbe to establish, who's in charge, who leads, who has an important opinion. The reason why those conflicts are so strong among people who are so devoted is because they never developed a love for each other. Yes, by focusing on each other, you might have a little bit less focus than on the point of the head of the clan. But if you want to build a city, if you want to build a country, you want to build an organization, you want to build a corporation, you cannot build it as a family enterprise. If it's only a family enterprise, when the head of the family dies or when key members of the family die, the whole thing goes kaput. You have to set up a system of respect, trust, reliance upon each other. And only then do you have a healthy nation. At the end of the book of Genesis, the end of Parshas Vayechi, after Jacob is buried for 17 years, Joseph has been exceedingly kind to his brothers. All of a sudden, things seem to be changing. And because things seem to be changing, they're afraid that Joseph would return to them the behavior that they had shown to him. And they come and they appease him and they bow down to him and they say, please forgive us, or we're your slaves, we whatever you want from us we'll do. And Joseph starts crying. Why is Joseph crying? He should be laughing. You idiots. You think I'm going to go ahead and harm you now because father is dead? Why is he crying? I'll tell you why he's crying. Because that was what he was trying to convince them of from the beginning. You have to love each other. It's not enough to love the father. It's not enough to love the Rebbe. It's not enough to love the Rav. It's not enough to be a student of Rabbi Yosheber, or of Reb Aaron, or a chassid of the Bel Zeruv, or the Gerer Rebbe. It's not enough. You have to love the Talmidim. You have to love the Chassidim. You have to get along with each other. You have to care for each other. Because only then can you have continuity. Only then can you build and continue building a structure that won't fall apart. If your allegiance is only to the head of the clan leader is gone, then there is no responsibility to anyone else but yourself. And that's dangerous. We have to have responsibility to each other. Hareini mekabel alai mitzvahs aseh shel v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. That's what Yosef preached to them, and they did not like it because this ran contrary to their sacred duty, to their sacred cause. And even after Jacob dies, Yaakov Avinu lo mes, he's not dead. Zara b'chaim afu b'chaim. As long as his seed is around, he's still alive. Yes, he may still be alive, but he's not there to make peace among brothers or among cousins. Certainly not among second cousins. And that was the argument between Yosef and his brothers. And of course, Yosef was right. If you want to build a nation, there has to be responsibility for the other. There has to be love and trust for the other. How could that be? The other person denies my sacred duty, my sacred... Well, maybe you have to modify your sacred duty, your sacred principles, by adding another line. And that line we say every day, Hareini mikabel alai mitzvahs aseh shel v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. The student who sat next to you in the Beis Medrash, the one who went on Mivtzoyim with you, the one who sends a check to your organization or to other people's organizations, the one who adheres to the principles that were laid down before you. They are worthy of your love and your trust. I will tell you a story. Years ago, I live in Detroit. Years ago, there was a chassid by the name of Meir Avtson. He's also known as Rav Meir Gesthalter. Meir Avtson had a huge family, and the Jewish community bought him a house as an act of charity that belongs to the community. Today is used as a synagogue, as a shul. Meir Avtson lost his whole family, wife and children, during World War II, and the Russian government wanted him to serve in the army. Obviously, every able-bodied man, he was an able-bodied man. The problem was, any one of the Hasidim who was drafted and taken to the army was put on the front lines and didn't last more than a few minutes at the front. So he knew going to the army was a death sentence. If he could survive, then one thing, but to be thrown as fodder for the Germans, he wasn't willing to do that for the Russians, for the communists. So he ran away. If they caught him, he'd be a dead man, a deserter. Where did he run to? He ran to the home of a storied chassid, also in his own right. His name was Rabbi Avrom Mayor. Family name Avrom Drizin, with a long gray beard. I met him, knew him, respected him. I heard from his daughter, who was married to a distant cousin, Mrs. Levin, Mother Levin's wife. They had 9 children. Parents and 9 children slept in the bedroom. 10 guests slept in the kitchen. Yes, so they came only for one Shabbos or for holiday. No. These people stayed for a year at a time, sometimes 2 or 3 years at a time. Meir was one of those 10 guests who had his own place, his own space on the floor of the kitchen, in the Driesen home. So he came to Rabbi Avram and he said, Rabbi Avram, I'm running away. Can you hide me? And Rabbi Avram told me, this is what he said to Meir. Meir, if they catch you, they kill you. If they catch you with me, they kill me. So I can't tell you to stay here. But I've never chased a person away, a Jew away from my house. So Meir stayed for years. One time, the NKVD, the secret police, came searching for people. And everybody ran away. They had a chickie and they ran away. Meir wasn't that quick, and he hid himself in the potato cellar under the kitchen. The police looked through the house. It wasn't a big house, obviously. There was nobody in the closet. And then somebody said, wait a second, there's a potato cellar here. Let's take a look. Open up the potato cellar, and there is Meir. He was a big guy, all of Meir there. And they said to Avram, I thought you said there is no human being here. There's nobody here. I said there's nobody here. No human being anyway. So, guy has his flash, what do you say about that? Who's that? He says, that? That you call a human being? He says, what else is he? He's got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a nose. So Avram said, him? He's a crazy man, as I'm a shuganer. You can't call him human. And Meir had the cue. Meir had this incredibly plastic face. As soon as he heard the word Meshuganer, Meir went like this. He had this incredibly plastic face, and when he did that, you couldn't help but laugh and imagine that he was somebody that was not there. And that's what saved them. Quick thinking, quick acting. But Rebbe Avram put his life on the line to save Reb Meir Aftzin, who later would father 16 children in his second marriage, whose children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren are lighting up this earth. And how were they saved? They were saved through the unity of Hasidim. It wasn't because of clansmanship. It was because of Ahavta l'reacha kamocha. That's what Yosef wanted to impose and inspire his brothers with. And that was the essence of their argument. And of course, fortunately, Yosef won the argument.